Afternoon to everybody who's here with us, our friends from the media, esteemed guests, our partners, and everyone joining us here. A big thank you for taking your valuable time and being with us this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, in terms of Thomas Shepard, I'd like to begin this afternoon by quoting across a very important quote. He said, "Transmission of learning is like the spark of a candle. If you light your candle from my light, and your light will be enhanced and not diminished." Ladies and gentlemen, I would request all of you to please have a look at this paper in my hand. If I give you 10 minutes to go through it, to memorize this, I'm sure everybody will have their own ways and process of learning and memorizing. I'd quickly like to see a quick show of hands if everybody says that we're all going to learn this in the same way and in the same time. And a quick show of hands if you all say that we're going to learn this and we have our different process and ways of learning this. Okay, fantastic. Well, we all come from the same background, that we will have our different ways and process of learning and memorizing this piece of paper. No doubt, because every brain is unique and every mind is one of a kind. And of course, we all learn differently. Well, ladies and gentlemen, D2L Brightspace is a powerful, flexible, and personalized learning innovation platform which is built for every stage of life and every stage of learning, from the early days of school to higher education and to the working world. Brightspace works for you and grows with you and helps learner achieve more than you can ever imagine. On this note, once again, I, Manvi Kilnani, would like to take this opportunity to be welcoming each one of you to D2L Brightspace Press Conference, and a big thank you once again to all of you for taking the time out this afternoon and joining us here. We are gathered here to discuss and share the further expansion and investment in the Indian market, as D2L has been operating in India via a channel partner since February 2019. The learning innovation platform, Brightspace, is fully compliant with University Grants Commission parameters in India, as well as supports the NEP 2020 vision. To begin with, please put your hands together, as we are so delighted, elated, and privileged to be welcoming the senior leadership who's with us this afternoon, Mr. Elliot Gowans, SVP Sales International. Thank you so much for being with us here this afternoon. Mr. Rajesh Talpade, SVP Product Management. Once again, a big welcome to you as well. Mr. Nick Hutton, Regional Sales Director, Asia. Mr. Prem Maheshwari, Regional Sales Director, South Asia. Marissa Camp, Senior Director, Marketing International. I would also like to take this opportunity to introduce and welcome our partners on board. Amazon Web Services, Amit Nivetia, Strategic Initiatives, Lead India and South Asia. Amazon Web Services, please put your hands together. Ms. Sumita Gupta, India Lead, Educational and Skills Vertical, Amazon Web Services. Thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon. Last but not the least, Mr. Ram Lakshmi Narayan, Senior Manager, Partner Ecosystem, AWS. Thank you so much once again for being here with us. Our channel partner, EduTech, Manju Parakat, Business Head of Learning Solutions, EduTech. Thank you so much once again for
introductory phase on what D2L is and Brightspace is and what LMSs can do in India. So, quick introduction. My name is Rajesh Talpade. I'm the Senior Vice President for Product at D2L. D2L, in case you're not as familiar, is a publicly traded educational technology company based out of Canada. It's been in operation for over 20 years. And as was mentioned earlier, I'm so happy to see you all and welcome you to this formal launch event for D2L in India. For those who might not be aware, D2L offers learning management systems to manage the creation, delivery, and assessment of educational content and services for universities, schools, and corporates. Typical users can include teachers, professors, administrators, content creators, and HR professionals. D2L Brightspace, which is the main LMS product that we have, is an advanced cloud-based learning management system that is trusted by over 1,000 customers globally. In addition to the core learning management system capabilities, customers can also benefit from other D2L products like Performance Plus for data analytics and reporting, Creator Plus for content creation and management, and Wave for corporate employee learning and development. Customers can also access dozens of solution partners that are tightly integrated into the D2L platform. D2L Brightspace has been internationally recognized for the excellent accessibility capabilities that it offers, which really helps those who suffer from physical disabilities. Apart from continuously leveraging the newest in technologies in the platform, we also try and ensure that we are able to meet the unique local needs of our global customer base. To that end, I'm really happy to share that D2L Brightspace completely complies with the parameters laid down by the Indian University Grants Commission, the UGC, and the National Education Policy NEP 2020. D2L also supports Hindi in our products. So as someone who grew up and benefited from education right through pre-K all the way to undergraduate in Mumbai, I'm super excited to see D2L increase the level of investment in India with the goal of helping Indian educational institutions really accelerate, become more efficient and effective in delivering excellent education to the 50% of the Indian population that is less than 25 years of age. This large and tech-savvy population has really got the potential to accelerate India's progress. And I'm so happy that D2L is offering to leverage the over 20 years of experience that we have in this space. So with that, I'm going to present to you a short video that really showcases the capabilities of the D2L Brightspace platform. And then we will definitely get into more details about what exactly we plan to do in India.
An always-on experience that's going to work on any device and that's centered around them. For every learner, and in the included Brightspace Pulse app, learners can manage their workload and plan their time across their courses, something many students struggle with. Their content is accessible on any device and can even be downloaded for offline access. Learners can create portfolios of their work and share and reflect what they're working on and what they're interested in. They can engage with their instructors and their mentors to gain valuable feedback to master important skills and concepts. Students have lots of ways they can be hands-on and engaged. They can work together in groups using live sharing, video, virtual classrooms, and whiteboards. And learners can also practice skills and get AI-enabled feedback on how well they speak or utilize key terms, and share ideas in group or open discussions. It's easier to design documents and materials that might be on Google or other cloud services. And to add a personal touch, video is everywhere using your phone or your webcam. It's hard to make digital content accessible to all devices, to all people, and to look good. In Brightspace, it's easier to build great looking content that's going to work on any device. Simply pull in materials from any of the 1,800 different learning tools that work with Brightspace, or drag and drop your content directly into the course. Content templates make it really easy to structure information in a consistent way that's accessible and looks great on every device. With the powerful release conditions tool, instructors can create rules where content and activities are released to learners as they complete assignments, achieve certain thresholds, or even make choices on how they want to learn. These rules can make highly personalized learning experiences very scalable and practical. Badges and awards can be crafted using these rules to help recognize and motivate learners to continue. We know that students are more successful when they get timely and meaningful feedback from their instructors. So we built the Quick Eval tool to quickly find student work that needs feedback. Instructors have powerful annotation tools at their disposal for digital activities and work that's done within the classroom, including rubrics, video feedback, and direct assessment of standards or learning outcomes. You can grade assignments or give feedback on the go, because Brightspace works on any device. Instructors have a wide variety of ways they can set expectations for success with learners, provide meaningful feedback on the work that the students have done, and support a variety of ways of evaluating progress. Instructors can monitor how their class is performing using traditional or mastery-based gradebooks that help them scan the progress of the class and look for opportunities to improve curriculum or to help track the progress of an individual learner over time. To help motivate students, recognize progress, or remind them of deadlines. Because Brightspace is so flexible, faculty and staff can also use it to discover and take learning online, helping them build empathy with the students they're meant to support. Advanced analytics and dashboards help give insight into adoption of learning programs and engagement of students. Advisors, coaches, and mentors can look for patterns that create risks in student success and zero in on those students that might benefit from interventions and additional assistance. The Student Success System goes a step further by using a predictive algorithm to predict completion and final grades for individual learners and to help point out potential areas where they may benefit from intervention or improvements to the curriculum. With Brightspace for higher education, it's easier to manage all the learning programs in one accessible platform that meets the needs of modern learners.
Thanks for taking us through this fantastic journey of D2L Brightspace in India. And I think, as you also saw in the video, that everything looks so promising and we're talking about constant changes. Everybody who's here with us this afternoon, have you ever wondered, there have been myriad of changes since the independence in India. We're almost celebrating 76 years of independence, and two things which are constantly changing is the technology and the human adaptability. And one industry that perfectly combines these two drive-changing characteristics is the learning and the education industry. And thank you so much to D2L Brightspace, who's been making utmost efforts to do the same. Moving on and talking more about the expansion in India, I'd like all of you to please put your hands together for Mr. Elliot.
I'm D2L's Senior Vice President for International Markets. I'm actually from Scotland in the UK. I'm thinking that maybe for some of you my accent might be a little difficult, so I'll try and talk nice and slowly, and hopefully in the Q&A my colleagues who speak Hindi can do a little bit of translation for me if we need that. I'm really excited to be here today. Nick and I started talking about expanding into India more than 5 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago, and to finally get here and be sitting on the stage with my colleagues in front of all of you is just absolutely fantastic today. India has a rich culture in education, which we've already talked about this morning, and it makes it a very, very exciting market for D2L. Firstly, because of that rich culture in education, especially in engineering, it's a fantastic market for us to base engineering talent, and we already have multiple development teams that we've hired and are based here in India. On top of that, the scale and size of the education market in India makes it a very, very, very compelling market for our products and services. Today, we've identified more than 1,000 higher ed education institutions which we think are a really great fit for our platform, and already we have more than 50 that have adopted Brightspace today. We're absolutely committed to the Indian market, and as a founder-led company. Although we're a public company, we're a founder-led company. We're able to invest for the long term. And so today, I can just mention a few of the investments that we've already made in India. Already I mentioned the multiple development teams which we have here. Starting at the beginning of this year with our global partner, Amazon Web Services, we're now able to offer cloud hosting located in India, hosted out of Mumbai. We have, very proud to say that we have a Hindi language pack, and I believe that we're the only global player in what we do that has invested in that already, really showing our commitment to the Indian market. And very soon we will have a D2L corporate entity, D2L India, which will be set up and ready. We hoped it would be ready for today, but it's not quite there. We're working our way through all of the paperwork, but very soon we will have a D2L entity, D2L India, which will help us expand further in the market. We also have a local team here, headed up by Dr. Prem, who you'll hear from shortly. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Nick Hutton, who's going to talk a little bit more about what we're doing here in Asia and specifically here in India. Thank you.
Thanks, Elliot. Namaste, good morning or good afternoon now, everybody. Thank you very much for spending the time today and joining us here for what obviously, as Elliot has mentioned, is, and also Rajesh has mentioned, is a very exciting event for us. So what I wanted to do just quickly was to give you a little overview and brief as to how we're viewing our business and our expansion in the Asia region. My role is Regional Director for Asia. I'm based in Singapore, and in fact our regional headquarters is based in Singapore. We have a team there whose focus is on supporting the major countries that we're doing business in across Asia, and of course our number one country in terms of support is India right now. And it's important to understand that we do a lot of work out of Singapore to support the team that's here. So whether that's work from a technical perspective, what we call customer success, which is working with our existing customers around the region and the 50 plus that we have in India to date, to make sure they're very successful in using and utilizing the Brightspace platform, and of course in a very important service that we deliver, which is what's called implementation. So implementing the Brightspace platform within the institution to make sure that it's working in the right way for that particular institution. We have a very key tagline when we talk about Brightspace in D2L and with our customers, and that is that one size does not fit all. In other words, every single student's journey, every single student's learning path is completely different, and it's very important for us to make sure that Brightspace, when it sits with one of our customers anywhere in the world, is set up in a way that makes sense for each one of the students who are using it, and of course for each one of the faculty who are using it to deliver. So we've been developing our business across Asia, and we've been successful in many countries, particularly in Singapore, in the Philippines, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Thailand, and other countries as well. In fact, to give you a kind of a particular focal point, in Singapore we have and we work with 75% of the major higher education institutions. So we have an extremely strong footprint in Singapore, and of course we use those institutions, those references and those experiences to be able to help Dr. Prem and his team here in having the conversations with the higher education institutions that we're working with in India. As was mentioned, we are fully compliant with the UGC parameters for online delivery, the accredited UGC institutions that are able to deliver online learning, and also with all of the parts of NEP 2020 that support the use of technology in delivering teaching and learning. So, As I mentioned earlier, and all of us are feeling the same way, this is a very, very exciting time for us. It's great to have a formal launch to follow essentially what has been a soft beginning for us for the last 4 years, including 2 years of the pandemic. But now we're announcing ourselves formally in India, and we're very excited to do so. So with that, let me pass over to Dr. Prem, who's going to talk a little bit more about what we're actually doing within India itself. Prem.
Thanks, Nick. Good morning and namaste to everyone. And I think, as rightly said by Elliot and Nick, this is a very exciting time for a company like D2L, education technology company like D2L, to be present in India and expanding in India. And the reason is that we are in such a current stage of affairs as far as education industry is concerned, that we are in the process of writing history. And when I say writing history, is that we are now getting into technology-enabled education. Since past 4 years of our presence in India, we have seen that how from first customer, which happens to be Manipal Group, to now more than 50 customers in India, have utilized fantastic, innovative, world's most innovative learning management system and used it the way that has actually transformed the way Indian education system now operates. Going forward, and with the focus on new education policy and UGC's compliances, more and more of universities, higher education institutions, colleges would adopt an innovative learning management system like this. Now, when I talk about the new education policy and UGC compliance, new education policy clearly enshrines competency-related or competency-based education model. Good thing about Brightspace learning management platform from D2L is that this is based on the premise of CBE, what we call as competency-based education, and therefore gels well with our teaching pedagogies and teaching learning styles run in most of the Indian universities. Also, this learning management platform has been utilized by a large number of engineering and medical colleges in India. When I talk about medical colleges, we have used Brightspace learning management system by D2L in 5 of Indian medical colleges, who now, as per the new policies enshrined by new medical council, NMC, are now practicing competency-based medical education, or CBME. This is the only learning management system which is now compliant with NMC's policies and procedures, which is following the competency-based medical education. Going forward, I think most of the education institutions would go in for an innovative system like this. Now, besides this, our Government of India, our Honorable Prime Minister, has a fantastic vision, and especially in the next decade, the Indian government would be focusing more on healthcare and education. And education happens to be one of the most important criteria going forward. And there, the use of education technology will be of paramount importance. India happens to be the IT technology supplier to the world. बचपन में जब हम लोग पढ़ते थे तो हम लोग को पढ़ाया जाता था कि भारत एक कृषि प्रधान देश है. आज बोलते हैं भारत एक कृषि प्रधान देश के अलावा IT प्रधान देश भी है. IT टेक्नोलॉजी, लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म्स हमारे एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस के लिए एक वरदान है आज के डेट में. और जैसे ही हम आगे जाते हैं, जब हम न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को अडॉप्ट करते हैं, UGCs के पैरामीटर्स को अडॉप्ट करते हैं, तो ये लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम ब्राइटस्पेस बहुत काम आएगा. तो उस प्रावधान के अंतर्गत हम लोग का ये सबका मानना है कि आने वाले टाइम में इनोवेटिव लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम, इसके अंदर आज की डेट में दुनिया में 1500 से ज़्यादा क्लाइंट्स हैं हमारे, जो कि इस लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम को अडॉप्ट कर रहे हैं और उसको यूज़ कर रहे हैं. और हिंदुस्तान के, अपने भारत देश के जितनी भी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, 1000 के ऊपर यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, 45,000 कॉलेजेस हैं, जिसमें इंजीनियरिंग, मेडिकल और जनरल कॉलेजेस भी हैं. आने वाले समय में वो इनोवेटिव टेक्नोलॉजी, ब्राइटस्पेस जैसी इनोवेटिव टेक्नोलॉजी जो कि क्लाउड बेस्ड है, जिसमें कि बहुत सारे फीचर्स एंड फंक्शनैलिटीज़ ऐसे हैं जिसमें कि हम ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन, हाइब्रिड एजुकेशन और UGC के जो नए नॉर्म्स हैं उसके हिसाब से एजुकेशन को प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं. जैसा कि मेरे कोलीग्स ने बताया कि ये प्लेटफॉर्म हमने इंग्लिश के अलावा हिंदी में भी तैयार किया है. और एक्सेसिबिलिटी, जो कि दिव्यांग हैं, वो अगर इस प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू पढ़ना चाहते हैं तो उनको हम पहुंच सकते हैं. भारत के कोने कोने में हम पहुंच सकते हैं इस टेक्नोलॉजी के ज़रिए. इसके अलावा इंडिया में खास तौर से पिछले 4 वर्षों में हम लोगों ने अपने पार्टनर्स के थ्रू पूरे हिंदुस्तान में एक तरह से कवरेज एंड रीच किया है. हमारे पार्टनर्स हैं, उनके 6 ऑफिसेज हैं, हमारे अपने D2L के खुद का स्टाफ है, हम लोग क्लाउड होस्टेड हैं यहाँ पर मुंबई में, और जितने भी हमारे छोटे छोटे स्थान हैं जहाँ पर यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, चाहे वो Tier 1 टाउन्स हों, Tier 2 टाउन्स हों, हम सब जगह पहुँच चुके हैं। और आने वाले टाइम पे हम लोग का ये विज़न है कि इंडिया में, हिंदुस्तान में हम जितना भी एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, सब जगह पर ये वर्ल्ड की सबसे इनोवेटिव टेक्नोलॉजी को पहुँचा सकें। तो ये हमारा ध्येय है, और आगे आने वाले टाइम में आप देखेंगे कि ज़्यादातर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस इनोवेटिव टेक्नोलॉजी, ब्राइट स्पेस बाय D2L इसका प्रयोग करेंगे। थैंक यू सो मच।
And has been doing wonderfully and tremendously well. Moving on, as Mr. Prem also mentioned, that India is taking the lead when it comes to digital transformation and technology. And we've all seen that from consulting a paper map to navigating and to reaching places, it's been substituted and replaced by phone GPS system. Consulting a book at a library has been replaced by search engines and even chat GPTs. And pandemic has also made us realize that how quickly and fastly we are incorporating those changes. Well, I think Brightspace is doing wonders when it comes to technology and education and learning. Moving on, it said that sharing of knowledge enlightens the world. So I would request all of you to please pour in your questions, and our team here will be more than happy to take those questions for all of you.
And you are planning and your strategy to implement it across the country, your solution across the country.
Take that?
We are a learning management platform company, and the idea is to provide this technology tool, and this is a purely academic tool for universities and institutions. Provide this tool to the Indian universities, using which they can approach and reach and ensure fantastic coverage and reach to the remotest corner of the country. Now, this is a tool which has fantastic academic tools that includes creation of content, taking examinations and assessments, and AI-based analytic tools. All those features and functionalities are today available. And you would recall that during pandemic, most of the institutions in India, whether they were universities or colleges or schools, they were using some kind of technology to disseminate education. Now, this has been part of our DNA as such post-pandemic, going forward, and also enshrined by UGC's potential policies. Part of education in most of the educational institutions will be delivered partly online and partly on campus. Using which, I think, and using technologies and innovative education technologies like D2L's Brightspace, the coverage and reach to the remotest corner can be ensured, number one. Number two, we could ensure proper engagement between the faculties and the students using this technology. And that is a very important part of our education delivery system. So going forward, the tenets of New Education Policy 2020 also hints or directs us towards a hybrid model of education. With hybrid model of education, most of the educational institutions, this is the only way, this is the only best possible technology that could actually and potentially help educational institutions to ensure proper delivery and sustenance of education to all the students, and also ensure that our faculties, teachers, school and university managements, everyone are aligned properly to ensure usage of technology enabled education going forward. So that's the vision. Thank you.
So I'll just add a little bit to what Dr. Prem said. Couple of points. So the first is, yes, you're absolutely right that India is a very diverse country, and people access the internet through various devices. D2L Brightspace is available on all the form factors. So you can access it using your smartphone or tablet, Android tablet, or laptop or desktop computer. So it does not matter. It will meet the needs of the end user, the learner. The second is it's a cloud-based learning management system. So what that means is the university or educational institution does not need to worry about deploying it in their campus. We have as our partner, the cloud partner, AWS, And deploying it on AWS means that D2S Brightspace is accessible by anywhere that the AWS cloud is accessible from. So those are a couple of things. The third thing that I will mention is this notion of accessibility. D2L has one recognition for the ease with which it allows people with disabilities to use the platform. So that increases significantly the user base as well, reduces the challenges that some people might have with software.
When I mentioned more than 1,500 clients, I was talking about global clients. We have more than 50 clients in India, some leading universities. That includes universities like Manipal, VIT, SRM, and many more. Now in India, to answer your question, what we are providing is our learning management platform to enable those universities to deliver education and academic interactions with the students and faculties. Sorry. Now in universities, our target customer base is those 1,000+ universities and 45,000 colleges that we have. Going forward, and with the onset of new education policy, and with the onset of the desire of students and teachers to engage more digitally and ensure portability in the education system, it's very important to adapt a system like this, which is very innovative, very user-friendly, very student-friendly, or very faculty-friendly.
No, I agree, sir, but they also have their
learning management system. Brightspace is an LMS, right?
Okay.
Now, what we do is we tie up with these universities, the private and public universities in India, offer our learning management platform to them, using which they not only create content, but use variety of academic features available on this platform. So we are providing this learning technology to the institutions and universities. So the idea of today's conference is to expand into India and be able to reach to more universities, just in 50+ universities. The idea is to reach as many as possible amongst these universities, so that we are able to offer one of the best technologies to them. So what they're using, as you rightly said, most of the universities have been using some sort of an LMS. There are combinations of LMS plus ERPs which are being used by some of the institutions. There's a lot of dilemma in terms of what is the best technology to use. What we are offering is a feature-enabled, feature-rich learning management platform which takes care of all their needs, current needs, but are also at the same time compliant with the government policies and UGC and AICT and NEP policies. So that's the whole idea, is to provide such a technology-enabled platform to them that helps them actually maneuver through the process so that they are compliant with the UGC and NEP, as also they're able to offer variety of feature-rich LMS platform to their students going forward. So that's the whole idea.
So this is for the internal
On this learning management platform, this is what we offer to them. So whatever features are required by the universities and institutions are used by them, but beyond that, in future, variety of such features and functionalities should be and will be used by these institutions and universities. This is what we are offering.
last
Question, but let me add a little bit to your earlier question that you asked, Prem here. Your question was around who are the end users, and for the universities that are using Brightspace LMS, the end users are the administrators, the faculty, the teachers, as well as the students. So whoever is involved in the learning process at the universities are end users of our LMS, our Brightspace LMS. So to your second question, yes, absolutely, and I kind of alluded to it in the previous question as well. Absolutely, bandwidth requirements are vast, and not everyone has the same access to bandwidth. If you go beyond the tier 1 and tier 2 cities in India, for instance, and which is why Brightspace is at an advantage, because we also offer the mobile option. So what that means is that someone who has access to a mobile phone or a tablet and is accessing the internet is able to access Facebook or whatever it is that they do, or YouTube, over their mobile tablet or the smartphone, can also access Brightspace using that same internet link. It's adaptive, as it's called, the technology that Brightspace uses for displaying on smaller screens, which means it accounts for the fact that there is less real estate
that the end user is able to work with. So that's an advantage that we offer with the Brightspace LMS. As you are aware, India has gone from an amazing, very few mobile users to being the largest mobile user market now, several hundred million strong, because of various policies, both government as well as private. And we recognize that many of our students and end users will be using their phones, and hence the mobile app that we offer and the adaptive technology, the user experience that we have in the product will help in cases where there isn't a lot of internet bandwidth to work with.
If I can just add to that, so we have a great amount of experience in expanding Brightspace and D2L to other countries similar to India where there are connectivity issues. Some examples would be Colombia, Brazil. Nick obviously mentioned a number of other countries in Asia where we see these things. So Rajesh did a great job there of describing some of the features that we have that help with that. One thing that I would add to that is also that the content in the platform is, most of the content is able to be downloaded and consumed when you're offline as well, which really will help with that kind of thing. I think through the pandemic, lots of us got the idea of what is a learning platform, what is online learning as video and synchronous and people being there. Actually, platforms like Brightspace are very good at augmenting what is going on campus and helping people, not just when they're on campus, not just when they have a great connection, and the features that Rajesh and I just talked about really help with that. Fantastic, that's a great question. So as we said during our introduction, so we're a Canadian company. We're more than 20 years old. We actually have a proud history of expanding outside of Canada. As you'd imagine, we started with the US, the UK, obvious markets for a Canadian company to expand to. Australia is another market. Nick talked in detail around our exploits here in Asia and Singapore and other countries. I mentioned Colombia, Brazil earlier, South Africa, Netherlands. We truly are a global company. When we started talking about expanding into India 5-6 years ago, the thing for me was really the scale and size of the education market here. It actually dwarfs some of these other countries where we're very well established, and so that makes India really an exciting prospect. And again, as I said in the introduction, the rich heritage of education is a really important part of Indian culture in the past, and it will be in the future. And I think that ties in really well with D2L and our entire company ethos. We talk about reaching every learner. It's one of our straplines as a company, and I think India is just a fantastic example of where we can really live that motto. And over time, as I said, we've identified 1,000 institutions today that have tens of millions of students that are ideally placed to adopt our platform, and that is just a really exciting prospect for us.
Yeah, so earlier that the youth population in India, that's 50% of the Indian population is less than 25 years. And if you go a little bit deeper, 25% of the Indian population is between 0 through 14 years of age. So it's a significant population that needs to be educated, and so we need to come up with innovative and scalable ways to reach this population and educate them in a very effective manner if they are able to compete, not just now but throughout their lifetime, right? So that's one aspect of it. So that's why India. The other aspect of it is that this population is not all in the tier 1 cities. They are in tier 2 and everywhere. And as was pointed out, having access to quality education in some of the places in the country is just not possible today, right? And so when we talk about these 1,000 institutions that we want to target, which are UGC recognized and so on, they may not be necessarily able to reach this bulk of the youth population without having a powerful online platform like an LMS, like D2L Brightspace, that allows them to scale up their offerings to reach the bulk of the Indian population, the youth population. So that's another reason why India and why now as well.
Yeah, just as well, with the National Education Policy of 2020 coming off the back of the pandemic, the time is really right for D2L and for India to adopt platforms like Brightspace.
का जो पहला प्रश्न है कि कुछ खास तैयारी करी नहीं, खास तैयारी नहीं करी। उसका कारण है जो ब्राइट स्पेस लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म है उसमें इतने ज़्यादा फीचर्स हैं, हम शायद उसका 15% या 20% फीचर्स ही इंडिया में यूज़ कर रहे हैं। नंबर 1। नंबर 2, आप देखें तो इंडिया एक टेक्नोलॉजी लीडर भी है, हम वर्ल्ड को टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हम अपने ही इंस्टीट्यूशंस में, अपने ही यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में टेक्नोलॉजी इनेबल्ड एजुकेशन का प्रयोग नहीं कर रहे हैं। आज की जो जनरेशन है, जैसे राजेश जी ने अभी बताया, जो आज की पॉपुलेशन है वो टेक्नोलॉजी इनेबल्ड पॉपुलेशन है, उनको टेक्नोलॉजी अच्छी लगती है। आज के जो बच्चे हैं जो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में पढ़ रहे हैं वो टेक्नोलॉजी यूज़ करते हैं, वो मोबाइल फ़ोन यूज़ करते हैं, वो टेक्नोलॉजी से ही पढ़ना लिखना चाहते हैं, काफ़ी कुछ पढ़ाई टेक्नोलॉजी से हो रही है। तो हमें बहुत खास मशक्क़त नहीं करनी पड़ी, क्योंकि ये टेक्नोलॉजी ऑलरेडी वर्ल्ड वाइड डिफरेंट यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में यूज़ हो रही, उसी को हम यहाँ पर लेके आए। नंबर 1। नंबर 2, पेंडेमिक के बाद ये चीज़ और क्लियर हो गई कि टेक्नोलॉजी के बिना काम नहीं चलेगा। इसीलिए हमारी जो सरकार ने पॉलिसीज़ बनाई, चाहे वो नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी हो, चाहे वो यूजीसी की गाइडलाइंस हो, वो सब इस तरफ बनाई गई कि आने वाले समय में यूनिवर्सिटीज़ को टेक्नोलॉजी इनेबल्ड एजुकेशन का प्रयोग करना ही पड़ेगा, और अगर करना है तो अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म चाहिए, अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म चाहिए तो अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म हम लेके आए। आपका जो दूसरा प्रश्न है हिंदी का, हम हिंदी का इंटरफेस लेके आए हैं। तो इसमें इंस्ट्रक्शंस होते हैं लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म में, यानी अगले पेज पे जाना है तो उसको लिखा हुआ है हिंदी में, अगले पेज पे जाएं, ये बटन दबाएं, ये इंटरफेस हिंदी में है। जहाँ तक कि जो नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है जो डिफरेंट भाषाओं में कंटेंट को यूज़ करने के लिए बोल रही है, तो आज भी वो अलग अलग भाषाएँ जो कंटेंट है, जो भी पढ़ाई का कंटेंट है, वो इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे लोड किया जा सकता है, तो उसमें कोई रेस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है। अदर इंग्लिश का जो प्लेटफॉर्म है वो समझ में नहीं आता है, यानी कि अगर दूसरे एक मॉड्यूल से दूसरे मॉड्यूल में जाना है, या एग्जामिनेशन या क्विज लेनी है, तो कैसे जाएं, उनको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है इंग्लिश में क्या लिखा हुआ है। उस इंटरफेस को हम हिंदी में लेके आए हैं। बट ये सारी की सारी सुविधाएं हैं कि दुनिया की किसी भी भाषा का कंटेंट है वो यहाँ पर आप इसको लोड कर सकते हैं।
सो पहले वाले क्वेश्चन को थोड़ा ऐड करने के लिए, सो एब्सोल्युटली हिंदी तो अभी सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। जिस तरह से हम सपोर्ट करते हैं किसी भी लैंग्वेज का यूज़र इंटरफेस, वो हिंदी के लिए ही सिर्फ रिस्ट्रिक्टेड नहीं है। कोई भी और लैंग्वेज चाहिए तो हम उसमें वो अप्रोच लेके सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं। तो सिर्फ वही रिक्वायरमेंट है कि कितने कस्टमर्स को कोई और लैंग्वेजेस चाहिए, उनके नीड के अनुसार हम कुछ एडिशनल लैंग्वेजेस इंक्लूड कर सकेंगे। ग्लोबली आप देखें तो 20 से भी ऊपर लैंग्वेजेस बाकी देशों के हम इस तरह हिंदी के ही जैसे यूज़र इंटरफेस सपोर्ट करते हैं ऑलरेडी। सो डिमांड के ऊपर पूरा डिपेंड होता है। सो आपने अभी सवाल किया कि वो नहीं, हमें नया सॉफ्टवेयर या अलग सॉफ्टवेयर की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती है। क्लाउड बेस्ड सॉफ्टवेयर है, इसलिए उसको बोलते हैं कॉन्फ़िगरेबिलिटी। तो अलग अलग मॉड्यूल्स होते हैं, वो डिपेंडिंग कस्टमर के नीड के ऊपर स्टिच टुगेदर किए जाते हैं एट द टाइम ऑफ इम्प्लीमेंटेशन। सो डिपेंडिंग ऑन कस्टमर नीड हम समझ लेते हैं कि उनके कॉमन वर्कफ्लोज क्या है, उनके कॉमन यूज़ केसेस क्या है, कोर्सेज कौन से ऑफ़र करते हैं, और अकॉर्डिंगली हमारी सर्विसेज टीम होती है वो बराबर पार्ट्स ऑफ द सॉफ्टवेयर इनेबल करते हैं या डिसेबल करते हैं। नया सॉफ्टवेयर लिखना नहीं पड़ता है। सो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन टाइम जो बोलते हैं, टाइम टू वैल्यू, कि एक बार कस्टमर ने डिसाइड किया, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो गया और यूज़ करने लगे, वो बहुत कम हो जाता है उसके बाद। ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस दैट specify how the user interface needs to look like to make it easier for, say, visually disabled or physically disabled people to be using online software. And D2L has over many years paid a lot of attention to these organizations and the standards that they put out. So they will specify कि ये color use करना है या नहीं use करना है, this kind of font makes sense or doesn't make sense, what's the size of the font that might be okay or not okay, what is the placement of various buttons वगैरह on the user interface to make it again easier for visually impaired or otherwise disabled people to access the software. So all this is part of the product development process that we strictly pay attention to while creating the D2L Brightspace platform. And that's really results in us being able to support disadvantaged people a lot more better than what is otherwise possible with other kind of software.
Yeah, many software companies, I would say, view accessibility as a tick box exercise to conform with the legislation in whichever countries they're operating. At D2L, from day one, it's been something that's been really important to the company. We talk about inside our product development teams, we talk about the definition of done, and the definition of done for D2L means that the software code, any new code, is accessible and is able to be used by disabled people. We actually have one of the sort of leading global experts in accessibility who's a member of our product team. She's actually an Indian lady, she's based in Canada though. She's a thought leader in this whole space, and she's integral to all of the building of our software. So it's more than just a tick box, more than just something you put on a brochure, it's something that's really important to our whole company. What I would say is that we have identified initially more than 1,000 higher education institutions that we think are a really great fit for our platform. We have already got more than 50 of those that have adopted Brightspace today, and Dr. Prem and team are busy with our channel partner EduTech, trying to increase adoptions across those 1,000 institutions. Looking further out, beyond higher education, D2L globally, we also work with K-12, I don't know if K-12 works in India, but with schools, right? So we also work with schools, and we also do have customers in corporate learning as well. And so over time, once we are well established here in higher education, then we will push out into those other markets as well, which are important markets for D2L. But primarily this year, and probably for the next 2 or 3 years, our primary focus is the 1,000 institutions that we have already pre-selected and we understand are a great fit for our platform.
Very relevant question. So when we started in 2019, the challenges were different because that was pre-COVID era. Focus was very little on the digitally enabled or online education. The focus was precisely on the face-to-face education, traditional way of education. So when we approached the universities and institutions telling them that internationally and globally, most of the universities are using one or the other learning management platform, and why should India be left behind? Our students, our learners are very active digitally, and therefore you should be able to deliver the education using technology. So the reaction was very surprising that why should we invest? We are dearth of funds. Why should we invest into technology at all? A. B. We also faced challenges from faculties at that point in time because change management issues were there. Nobody was willing to actually unlearn and learn new technology and use technology to deliver education at that point in time. So it took a while, it took a little pain in terms of educating the university owners, faculties, administrators, and the relevant part of the university ecosystem to tell them the benefits of using technology, showcasing them the use cases from international and global markets, and the advantage of ensuring fantastic coverage and reach beyond the country using technology. Most of the universities are using education, for delivering executive education to working executives, and beyond India, also they're delivering a lot of courses. So the challenge is how do they do it without using technology? So there was tough time, but as we moved forward, COVID came a year later, and that was the time when everyone had to perforce use technology, and that was the time when they started realizing that yes, a product like D2L Brightspace could actually resolve a lot of issues that they face. One of the issues they faced at that time was ensuring fantastic learner and faculty engagement. That issue was also seen to be resolved using a platform like D2L Brightspace. Post-COVID, the scenario has changed dramatically. Universities, institutions, faculties, learners, administrators, students have realized the importance of digital education. So is our government. As a result of which, when they framed up the new education policy 2020 and the UGC and the ICT, when they started forming the new educational infrastructure, they paid a lot of attention on digitization efforts. I think one of the tenets of UGC is that going forward, 40% of the education would be happening online and 60% happening on a face-to-face manner. The whole idea of this tenet is that going forward, this is going to be the future. Hybrid education will be the future. Universities have limited capacities. They can actually enroll limited physical number of students, but reaching them digitally or through online way is future. Reaching the unreached, reaching the housewives, reaching people in tier 2, tier 3 towns, reaching to people who are into businesses. In India, you'll see a lot of family businesses are there, and students at young age, they join the family businesses, thereby their higher education suffers. Providing them with facilities from leading universities in the country to provide their education through online way actually would help them complete their education dreams alongside continuing their businesses or their professions. A lot of engineers and people after graduation join jobs in India. They have aspirations to complete their post-graduations and even doctorates. Providing them with the facility through online and digital media to complete their aspirations is a possibility now. Many of the Indian universities are now applying to UGC for getting approval to deliver education through online way. They are providing their degrees, graduate and postgraduate education through online way. And you'll be happy to know that almost 60 to 70% of the universities that have gone online are using Brightspace because they find this technology to be absolutely amenable to the way online education is delivered worldwide. We have fantastic number of use cases internationally, which we showcase to them how those universities have used Brightspace as a platform to deliver online education. So going forward, in future, the face of education has to be and will be hybrid, fully or partially online, which means that universities need to adapt technology. And adapted technology, we provide a very good, very robust, feature-rich learning management system. So I think that should be able to answer your question. Thank you. Because सबसे पहले हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में जाने का है. वहाँ पे एक बार हम जाते हैं, अपना सिस्टम प्रूव करते हैं, तब हम टियर 2 टाउन्स में, तब हम छोटे जगह पर भी जाएंगे. लेकिन आज भी अगर कोई स्कूल या इंस्टीट्यूशन एडवांस सिस्टम लाइक ब्राइटस्पेस अगर अडॉप्ट करना चाहता है, मोस्ट वेलकम. वी हैव अ टीम यहाँ पर बैठे हुए हैं, हमारे टीम के 10-11 लोग हैं, प्लस हमारे जो पार्टनर्स हैं एडुटेक, उनकी भी स्टाफ यहाँ बैठा हुआ है. वी आर स्प्रेड ऑल अक्रॉस द कंट्री. वी आर अप्रोचेबल. We can approach them. अगर कोई requirement है, we are most happy to serve that requirements.
Any more questions from any of our media guests, our friends? No more questions? To the dais, if you would like to give any concluding remarks.
Yes, I would obviously like to thank all of you for joining us today. As we've said, this is a great event for us in D2L, and I'm talking D2L globally, D2L Asia from my perspective, and obviously D2L in India. We've started the journey. We started that a few years ago. The journey so far has been good and successful. We were interrupted by the pandemic, unfortunately, but now we've restarted again, and we see lots of opportunities working with educational institutions in India ahead. A lot of the points have been made around the questions that have been asked today, and it really is an exciting time for us. So we're happy to spend more time with you after this session, answer your specific questions, have some more interaction, and obviously give you as much information as you like to help you with that, with the understanding of our position and what we're looking to do in India. So thank you very much indeed for your time today. Thank you.
On this note, thank you so much all four of you for taking those questions so well and also talking in depth about the future of Brightspace in India. So we're safe to say that Brightspace is all set to make big waves in the Indian education market and changing the way India educates and learns at the same time, and reaching people everywhere and anywhere in India. And of course, as we go beyond the limits of an LMS. Thank you so much once again for being here with us. On this note, thank you everybody for taking the time out and being here with us to attend the press conference. I hope all of you have a good day ahead. Thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon. Once again, thank you everybody. Please enjoy the networking and lunch at the same time. Thank you.
Sir, 1 second.
सिस्टम साधारण भाषा में अगर हम बोलें, एक सॉफ्टवेयर है जो कि क्लाउड बेस्ड है। क्लाउड बेस्ड सॉफ्टवेयर का मतलब क्लाउड में स्टोरेज होता है और वहीं से पूरा गवर्न होता है। उसका फ़ायदा ये है कि हिंदुस्तान में या वर्ल्ड में कहीं पर भी हम जा रहे हैं, अगर हम इस सिस्टम से कनेक्टेड हैं तो हम वो लर्निंग कर सकते हैं, पढ़ाई कर सकते हैं, नॉलेज ले सकते हैं। अब जो हमने यहाँ पे लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम प्रोवाइड किया है टू दी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ वर्ल्ड वाइड, उसका एडवांटेज क्या है कि इस सॉफ्टवेयर को यूज़ करके एक तो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ कंटेंट क्रिएट कर सकती हैं। कंटेंट का मतलब हो गया कि जो पढ़ाई लिखाई हो रही है, डिफरेंट कोर्सेज हैं, चाहे वो BA, MA, MBA, जो भी कोर्सेज, इंजीनियरिंग, मेडिकल कोर्सेज जो भी वो कर रहे हैं, उसका कंटेंट जो होता है उसको क्रिएट करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। अभी तक हमारे यहाँ क्या हो रहा था कि कंटेंट टीचर के पास अवेलेबल है, PPTs में, वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट्स में, क्लास में गए, उसको PPT चला दिया और पढ़ा दिया, बट वो कंटेंट चला गया टीचर के साथ। सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट किसी भी हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन का है वो कंटेंट क्रिएशन। वो पूरा का पूरा कंटेंट जो कि रेडीमेड है या वो नया बनाना चाहते हैं, इस प्लेटफॉर्म पर बना सकते हैं। दूसरा एस्पेक्ट, इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट होता है एग्जामिनेशन और असेसमेंट। हमारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम में एग्जामिनेशन असेसमेंट्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। इसके अलावा ड्यूरिंग द ईयर काफ़ी सारे छोटे छोटे असाइनमेंट्स, असेसमेंट्स, प्रोजेक्ट्स दिए जाते हैं। वो सारे के सारे डिजिटली डिसेमिनेट किए जा सकते हैं, यानी टीचर्स, फैकल्टीज, यूनिवर्सिटीज, इंस्टीट्यूशंस वो प्रोजेक्ट्स, असाइनमेंट्स, क्विजेस, क्वेश्चंस प्लेटफॉर्म पर क्रिएट कर सकते हैं और स्टूडेंट्स को दे सकते हैं। स्टूडेंट्स को ज़रूरी नहीं है कि कैंपस में आना ज़रूरी है, उस स्टूडेंट को कहीं से भी, घर से, बाहर से, ट्रैवल करते समय, देश में, विदेश में, कहीं पर भी हो, वो एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। प्लस उसका जो असेसमेंट हुआ, उसके बाद उसकी ग्रेडिंग हुई, वो सारा का सारा इसी प्लेटफॉर्म पर। उसके बाद एनालिटिकल जो टूल्स होते हैं, यानी स्टूडेंट ने क्या किया, क्या नहीं किया, वो सारे के सारे एनालिटिक्स इसी सिस्टम से किए जा सकते हैं। और बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल्ड में डेटा एनालिटिक्स रिपोर्ट्स जो कि हमारे रेगुलेटर्स को चाहिए होती हैं, वो सिस्टम पे स्टार्ट करें।
सर सब ने तो इसके पीछे में बता दिया। अब आप देख सकते हैं कि जो यहाँ के स्टूडेंट हैं, ये जो कोर्स करना चाहते हैं, तो कैसे कांटेक्ट करेंगे और फीस स्ट्रक्चर क्या होगा?
हाँ जी, तो ये तो बराबर सवाल है। तो कांटेक्ट करने के लिए तो फ्रेंडली तो है ही, बट स्टूडेंट्स को तो उनकी जो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ या इंस्टीट्यूशंस है वहाँ से एक्सेस मिल जाता है ब्राइटस्पेस के लिए, तो उनको खुद को जाके साइन अप करना नहीं पड़ेगा ब्राइटस्पेस में। जो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ है जैसे मणिपाल वगैरह के, वो खरीदते हैं ब्राइटस्पेस और फिर वो ऑफ़र करते हैं उनके स्टूडेंट्स को, तो वो वैसे उनको मिल जाता है ब्राइटस्पेस। और फिर प्राइसिंग है वो स्टूडेंट्स को तो खुद को देना नहीं है, वो तो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ से हम जैसे कि ने बताया था पहले कि वो प्राइसिंग अलग अलग थिंग्स पे डिपेंड हो जाता है, कितने स्टूडेंट्स हैं, किस तरीके से ब्राइटस्पेस LMS को यूज़ कर रहे हैं और कौन से वर्क फ्लोज है इन्वॉल्व, तो उसके ऊपर निर्भर होता है प्राइसिंग।
कितना फ़ायदा होगा?
स्टूडेंट है तो उनको दिन में काम कर सकते हैं, शाम को घर में जाके LMS पे, ब्राइटस्पेस LMS पे अपने असाइनमेंट्स वगैरह कर सकते हैं, तो वो एक फ़ायदा है। और तीसरा बहुत बड़ा फ़ायदा मतलब कि बाकी स्टूडेंट्स का कैसा चल रहा है, उनके कंपैरिजन, उनको समझ सकता है कि कितना और काम करना पड़ेगा अगर उनको बेहतर ग्रेड लाना है। ये सब पॉसिबल है जो
पेपर बेस्ड सिस्टम अगर LMS नहीं होगा तो डिफ़िकल्ट होता है वो उसका अंदाज़ आना। तो जो ऑटोमेशन है, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का यूज़ है, वो सब राइट स्पेस LMS में पॉसिबल हो सकता है।
ठीक है, कौन से लैंग्वेज में कितने लैंग्वेज में?
एक बात, ग्लोबली 20 से भी ज़्यादा लैंग्वेजेस सपोर्टेड है। हिंदी तो इंडिया में तो सपोर्टेड है ही। तो ये सब यूज़र इंटरफेस इतने सब लैंग्वेजेस में अवेलेबल हो सकता है।
सर, जिस तरीके से जो
अच्छी इंफॉर्मेशन आपने दी है सर, लेकिन ये जो दिव्यांग बच्चे हैं सर, इनके लिए बड़ा दिक्कत होता है, तो ये कैसे मैनेज कर पाएंगे और किस तरह से ये अपने आप को समझ पाएंगे, आपकी जो प्लेटफॉर्म आपने दिया है एजुकेशन में?
सो मैंने पहले आपको वो बताया था, जो एक्सेसिबिलिटी है वो प्राइमरीली विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड होते हैं, जिनको दिखाई कम देता है या दिक्कत होती है, या फिर फिज़िकल एक्टिविटी कम हो सकती है, उसके उन लोगों के लिए ज़्यादा बेहतर है। और हमने देखा है कि उन बच्चों के लिए ये प्लेटफॉर्म लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड बना देता है। मतलब उनको ज़्यादा दिक्कत नहीं होती है अगर ये प्लेटफॉर्म यूज़ करेंगे। बाकी प्रकार के जो डिसएडवांटेज होंगे तो उनके लिए हमारे बाद में या फिर अलग प्रकार के कोर्स वर्क चलाए जाएंगे, तो उससे मदद मिल सकती है।
तो ये अच्छी बात है सर, लेकिन जैसे इस तरह के जो आपने अभी एजुकेशन में D2L के बारे में बताया, तो बाकी और भी बहुत सी कंपनियां जो है, बहुत सी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैं, वो इसके बारे में सोच रहे होंगे, या उनके साथ भी आपका कंपटीशन रहेगा, तो कैसा रहेगा? बेटर एजुकेशन देने की ही जरूरत रहेगी।
राइट। सो ये एक्सेसिबिलिटी के एरिया में क्या है कि कंपनी को डिसीजन लेना पड़ता है कि कहाँ पे खर्चा करे, कि और फीचर्स बनाएं या फिर ये एक्सेसिबिलिटी एरिया है उसमें भी इनफ काम करते रहें। और D2L ने डिसीजन लिया है कि उसके ऊपर बहुत ध्यान देंगे, और पिछले बहुत सालों से वो ध्यान देते रहे। तो इसके कारण बाकी कंपनियों से हमारा प्रोडक्ट ये एक्सेसिबिलिटी एरिया में बहुत काफ़ी एडवांस।
तो इंडिया आपने चुना है, बहुत अच्छी बात है, लेकिन इसके बावजूद और भी देश हैं, सभी देशों में आप काम कर रहे हैं?
बहुत काफ़ी देशों में कर रहे हैं। अभी तो एलियट ने बताया होगा कि USA में तो है ही, कनाडा, UK, हॉलैंड, ब्राज़ील, कोलंबिया, मैक्सिको, सिंगापुर, मलेशिया, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, तो पूरा ग्लोबल फुटप्रिंट है। और D2L के लोग भी काफ़ी फैले हुए हैं सभी जगह, जहाँ हमारे कस्टमर्स हैं उनका ध्यान।
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू।